remember, called legal work, just what works. Welcome to the Providence City Council. My name is Kathleen Alder. I'm the mayor, and we have Jeff Miniker and Brent Speth, Chanel Seeley, and Josh Bolton as council members. Carrie Kirk is excused this evening, so, and I think she's not in a place where she has internet so that she can be on with us. So we appreciate everyone's efforts. I will lead everyone in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Thank you. Brent Speth has agreed to give our opening prayer. I'll turn the time to him.
Our dear and gracious Heavenly Father, this evening we have assembled in the capacity of the City Council meeting. Very grateful, Father in heaven, for this beautiful city which we live in and can enjoy the beauties of thy land. And we're grateful, Father in heaven, for the citizens of this community. We're grateful, Father in heaven, for the many blessings it provides us. Grateful to have the opportunity to serve as City Council. And grateful for those citizens who will come and give us input, help us understand. Father in heaven, we pray while we're assembled tonight that we might execute our offices with expertise to the best of our ability. We pray for thy holy guidance and direction in the affairs of the city. We're grateful, Father in heaven, for a wonderful staff that executes the policies and procedures of this community. They do an excellent job, Father in heaven. We're grateful for them. Now, please be with us while we're assembled this evening. And we say this humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brent. Okay, council reports. Josh, can we start with you?
I don't have anything for this one, so like for me.
Okay. Summertime is just such a hard time, you know?
I don't have a lot to report either. I've had a lot of phone calls about feeding and rowdy young adults and teenagers. Other than that,
Good. Thank you.
Well, you've all been watching the stream bed and watching the water come down, and we're happy to report, other than the June 15th flash rainstorm, most of the water's been contained in the stream bed and given us very few problems. But it did on the night of June 15th give us a few problems to a few residents, some water in basements and some cutting of the bank along Spring Creek. But we've been very blessed to dodge a bullet this year in the way the water has come down. I have to give Ralph Daniels a little credit. He's the water master of a Spring Creek Irrigation Company. The upper falls and lower falls are filled with rocks, and so the water is spilling over and going down into the slag pile. And we haven't needed more water, so he's not dug them out. So otherwise, if they'd have been dug out, it'd all been coming in pipes and coming down Spring Creek, and you'd have more water. But bless his heart, he just let it run out in the slag pile and dig it out later on this year. So we have dodged a bullet this year, and it's a blessing. However, these flash storms are something to be considered because occasionally we do get them, and people ought to be vigilant about their properties and things that can cause problems on their properties. With the amount of water we've had, we have a lot of tall grass, and we have a lot of homes high up on the bench. We need to be vigilant this year about when that grass dries out, there's going to be a great chance for fires. And we need to be very careful and cautious, keep a clear area cut around homes, as well as be vigilant to not be stupid with fire. Fire can cause you lots of problems. And speaking of fire, we are coming into the fireworks season. And Ryan and I spoke this morning, and I'll let Ryan probably report on that, but we're still going to keep the same boundaries for fireworks as we have in the past. As an emergency, head of the emergency volunteers for Providence City, I've been looking into and probably join an organization called Volunteer Organization of Utah, wherein other areas that can call on us or we can call on them, coordinate volunteers if we need them over a broader spectrum of the state. And glad the roads are being worked on. Thank you very much, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Jeff?
The mosquito sprayer started spraying at the beginning of this month. He comes on Tuesday nights. So, but he didn't spray when he went past my house, so I was grateful for that. Just because I don't like the chemicals. Anyway, you can still fill out that form if you want them to turn that off when they go past your house. And then a citizen was asking me about a swap, and I'm not sure a trade with the city, but their land and the city's land at 200 north and 300 east on that corner. And I'm not sure the process. I just need to keep working with Ryan. I don't know if they've come and talked to Ryan lately. They wanted to try and do something before the Logan waste facility shuts down or something in July. He wants to do a property or a.
I guess shut down in July.
Yeah.
For us or for anyone or?
For anyone.
Okay, yeah.
It's a transfer
It would cost,
station,
so that he could take it there anytime.
Yeah.
If we. So I'm not sure if I just need to work through you or through his council members, but he wants to do a property line adjustment to include the shed that's right next to his property. And then he wants to rip down the entire building, put it in his truck and take that away, take that off of the city property as the trade. He's just asking that the city pay to dump the load, and then that'll be off the city property. And just, I don't know how many feet it is, just to line it up so that the shed is on. Because right now the property line goes right down the middle of the shed.
That's really something you
So-
need to work with Ryan on.
Just work with Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, yeah.
No, I would talk,
Have him and keep talking to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Anything else?
We appreciate the council members and their work. It seems like there's not a lot going on right now, but they're always taking phone calls and they're always working with people to solve problems. We appreciate the city staff and you know, this last rainstorm that we had that was probably a 200-year event, who knows, but we had a lot of rocks out on the roads and they actually had to use the snowplow to get it off. So we appreciate their work to do that. I imagine it's not as easy to remove gravel with the snowplows as it is to remove snow. Kind of grindy underneath, right? But it's the fact that we've got city staff that are here and willing to do that is amazing. As far as my report, I've been working with the land conservation group, and they're taking applications and we'll be looking at those. I don't know if there are any Cache Valley applications for conserving land, but as we look at the green space out there and our more judicious use of our land within our city, it's important that we keep on top of those kinds of things. Again, always taking phone calls from citizens and trying to solve issues that have come up before they become problems. So, I will close that part of the meeting and go to approval of the minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from, I think,
May 17th,
17th,
2023.
2023.
So we have the motion. We have a second?
I'll second that.
Second, Josh. Any comments? Any other changes? Anything needs to be done? Compliment to Ty for doing great minutes. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. This is, the next part of the meeting is public comment. If anyone who has public comment that they would like to make, on anything other than something that is on the agenda, we would take those public comments now. Cal always has something to say.
Not always. Al Hanson, couple things I'd like to just comment about. I live on 200 North, and the edge of the road on the north side is deteriorating badly. There are chunks of asphalt this big laying along the edge of the road that have been busted off. And so I just wanted to make the council aware of that and see if there's some kind of plan to handle that.
Have you called in to give us that information?
No.
Okay, because our team is so responsive to that kind of stuff, so,
Okay.
yes,
If you see that in the future, just give me a call. Give Rob or I a call and we can take care of that. We do shouldering.
200 North?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same street I'm on. My neighbor across the street has the same problem. It goes down.
How far up 200 North are
I'm
you?
at 300, 360 east.
I'm at 81 on the White House on the corner.
I mean, he has it piles up every time they push stuff here and there. I kind of went and scooped it off the road myself, moved it onto the shoulder.
My concern is
But-
the deterioration of
But
the
you know,
road itself.
it'll keep
And it's just gonna keep
Gonna
getting,
crumbling off.
so,
yeah, Ryan, if you just call Ryan or Rob, they'll take care of
okay, well, now it's on record, okay?
it.
Um,
Duly noted.
two other things. Hang on. No, just one other thing. I'm curious, the ballpark at Solinger Park.
Yeah.
They've been
Which
working on
one?
that ball diamond, seems like forever. Is there some issue that they can't get it finished?
The big one?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no pitching mound on that, and it hasn't been for like 2 months. They've been working on regrading. It looks like they maybe replaced some of the dirt on the infield, but I don't know what the holdup is, but,
Ryan can speak
We,
to that.
yeah, we've had games on that field. We've had games on that field. We did redo dirt, and made sure we brought out level. But sometimes pitching mound, I don't know, but some of them are temporary, so we can move them off so that they don't get played on, so that they're placed on there. A lot of those pitching mounds get placed. But the field is complete, at this point. So I don't know that we have anything else that we're looking at place there, right? Yeah, it's complete. So,
I was just curious because up until a few months ago, there was a permanent mound out there, and then all of a sudden it disappeared.
it's
And
been permanent on that field. I don't think that's been a permanent mound.
I think it has.
They did do a complete rebuild of that infield, and so
They leveled the whole thing.
Yeah.
and filled it back up.
Okay. Okay,
I know the Wolverines have played doubleheader on it.
They have,
So-
and there was a tournament
Okay, well, those are the two things I wanted to bring up.
Great, thank you. Anyone else?
Neil Barber. I live on, 285 North, 100 East, just three houses down from, Hal. And north of us, where they're building, are trying to build the property up for new homes. We noticed here, 2 weeks ago that big cottonwood trees that we had there, they were all in a pile. I mean, a lot of the wood had been taken out, but there was several truckloads that they buried in the dirt. Those are going to rot, and any of the houses on there are going to sink. Guaranteed.
What's your address again?
285 North, 100 East.
That's something that we'll check on.
Okay, and the second thing was for the past 2 weeks, they have not picked up green waste on our street. And just from 200 North all the way down Spring Creek Parkway.
Okay.
And I called a lady about it today, and she said, well, you just have to wait till next week now. This is the second week that they left. I haven't touched that. So she had me call Jordan Lindsay and Department of Waste, and I left a message with him. But back, but there's no excuse. Really, I could see that they skipped that. I mean, sometimes the road is because they're working so much on out in the road. You know, they'll put up signs that through traffic, but there's always a way that they can come from either side to get that picked up. Make a turn. The regular garbage trucks, they get in there and they picked up at 7 o'clock this morning. So the green waste is still there.
Okay.
And the third thing is talking about the traffic going by there last week. They were working with an excavator, nobody outside watching. This is just before school got out, I think it was next to the last day. And they were swinging the back end of that excavator, which goes, and there was 2 small cars. If it would have been large cars, they would have been smashed. And the kids came up right behind it, and they were swinging that around. Nobody watching out for the.
That was a construction firm or was it
Construction
road?
crew, yeah. And
They were working on the road?
No, they were
Working on the subdivision.
they were in the road, but they were digging into the field. But far enough, they were sitting halfway out into the road.
So this is
When they swing
construction
that
on the
back in-
development?
They swing that back end around, and they're not watching. The cars were coming through there. They made a couple other mistakes this week too, digging and then finding out they made a big mistake. Is there anything else?
I'm just concerned about.
You have to come up and give us your name so we can record it.
I'm in better habit.
Oh,
I was the one looking at my kitchen window because I could see the field. And when those 2 cars went by and that bucket just swung around, I was amazed that they did not hit those 2 cars. And then when I seen the kids walking to school and they swung around the other way, they don't put out any cautions. The only time I've seen any type of a caution sign there is since they dug under the road to hook into the sewer, which has now sunk the road because they didn't do it right and the road is sunk. They finally put a sign up saying the road is closed. And that, but otherwise, kids ride their scooters through there. They ride them hard. They don't do anything. To me, I think they should have a fireman out there whenever they've got that equipment, but their equipment's always out in the middle of the road. Last night, they left equipment out in the middle of the road. Now, this morning they came and they closed it off on both ways where they sunk the road because they were digging under it. but there's just, I just don't see their safety features there. And I told my husband, I said, if I see it again, I'm calling the police. Because that is not safe for the kids around there. And we have a lot of little kids and we have toddlers that sometimes escape their moms faster out of the front door than they think. And if one of them got hit, that'd be the end of it. That would just devastate me. But they're just, to me, they're just doing things that are not cautious. I know that, I was talking to one of the senior citizens that live in the 55 and older, and she said they've had some big trucks driving down there, and they're not supposed to have any of those. And they have a lot of seniors out there walking and in wheelchairs that they're not paying attention to, and they drive those big trucks and go right out into the field. And that's the other thing. We must have, I don't know, I'd say anywhere from 6 to 10 of those great big long truckloads full of dirt or rocks going down our road. I think they need to replace our road. They've ruined our road from all these trucks and that. And they come down there and they swing in there and then they back out in the middle of the road. They never look to see if a car's coming. They just think they have the right of way there, and I just don't think they do.
Well, you know, when you have those kind of issues, we're here available.
I'd
and-
support calling the police. I think that was a good instinct and should have followed through.
Okay.
I would do it. I support that.
If I had seen that bucket go back out one more time, I would have called them, and I thought, I don't mean to be a mean neighbor. I realize they're
But it's
trying.
a safety
It's
issue.
a safe-
But
yeah.
I'm thinking of those poor little kids. The kids don't think. Kids on scooters don't think, you know, and when they almost hit the 2 cars that were going through there, I was ready to call the police, and I know they don't like me anyway, because I think some of the things they're doing down there is crazy, but, you know, I just don't want anybody hurt.
So is this on First North where you're having the
It's all
problem?
100,
On First, excuse me, First
285
East.
North
there-
100.
Yeah. Now we do have requirements when they're in the road right away to have control signs, do we not?
County Road,
That's a county road?
First East. Oh,
Okay.
First West. Oh, sorry.
Have
No,
that.
I was wrong. I was thinking First West is County Road. No. So yes, we do have requirements, and we do have them, when they're in our road. We do have them, have a bond for if they're, digging into the roadway so it can be fixed and repaired, and if they break it. But yeah, I mean, they should have a permit for
Well,
that.
they
We'll look it up.
they had 2 signs up, and they took them down, and they were laying in Hal's yard. And finally, Hal just took them back down. He said, you don't have permission to leave this stuff in my yard. They never put it back up or anything. But today, the whole thing they did is they just took their 2 pieces of equipment and blocked the road off. And said, right there where the road was, they said the road was closed. Well, most certainly the road's closed. I don't think you're gonna jump over one of those elevators. And that, but, it's just, to me, there's just so many things they're doing that are not safe, and especially like when those big trucks come whizzing down there as fast as they do. I'm just really afraid one of the kids is gonna get hit.
When you said one of the seniors in the senior community, were you referring to the ones down below on the west
They
side?
live in,
Cash Valley.
it's Cash Valley, it's considered, well, they call it the 55 and older.
It's on Center Street.
But they were walking,
No.
She lives in a corner house, and the truck just come whizzing down, because they have an opening there that they're supposed to have built a big wall so that the trucks and the dirt and everything wouldn't come into their part of the association, because they told them they could not do that. But they have been coming down, whizzing through there, and then turning into the field. And that, but we have also the assisted living that's in the center there, that they come out in their wheelchairs or their walkers and kind of walk around there. There's no way they could jump out of the way of one of those trucks.
so the association should be addressing the problem when the
That
trucks
I've
come
heard that
through
they have
the,
called twice on it already.
they have called twice. And who have they called?
I guess the construction worker, he didn't tell me who they called, but he said he had called and told them they are not allowed to go through there. And yes, they have.
sounds like on our part of the city, we need to enforce our requirements for signage and closing of street properly for signage and get them through there. The association needs to step up and call the police if they're going through the private
Okay.
area. They need to call the police and just say they're not allowed to go through there. We can't do anything about that area down there because it is a private area.
Yeah.
They need to call the police and get the police over there and sign them for it.
Okay, well, I'll tell him that because, you know, he's just called the construction worker, figures that maybe that would stop it.
No, they need to
Don't wait
call the
for him
police.
to do it 2 or 3 times, just
Yeah,
first
get-
time you see it, just call.
Okay.
Rob, you have a comment?
This is an FYI. I don't know what the HOA agreed upon, but the sewer ties into their sewer.
Yeah.
And there was some communication between them, and there would have to be equipment and trucks going through the assisted living area to accomplish those goals. I don't know exactly what those agreements might have consisted of, as far as how long and how often or whatever, but there is construction that must go in there in order to accomplish the full sewer goals. And so I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, it's,
The state
again, the roads don't belong to us, they belong to the
HOA.
development, so.
They finished that. That's the sewer that has all been in and they kind of down the road, but they've never put the wall up that they promised that they would do.
It's not completed because they haven't done any asphalt or testing on the sewer main. It's not in use yet.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. They did.
There's some very valid, legitimate, scary sounding safety concerns, and I'll address those as best I can. I went through there yesterday and they did have, road closed signs, barricades up, but as far as quantity of cones and barricades, they probably should improve.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Any other comments?
Good evening.
Hello?
So,
Name?
Jarrett Sorensen.
Okay.
Nice to meet you all. So I was introduced to this law when I was younger, living at my mom's house in Providence, about things not being able to be parked on the road for more than, I believe it's 48 consecutive hours. So I had parked my dad's trailer on the side of the road by our house, and a neighbor got mad, and instead of talking to us about it, he called the cops or something, got really mad about it. Anyways, so now I live in Providence at my own house and knew about that rule, and I've talked to all my neighbors about it. They're fine with my trailer being parked there. So I was just wanting to come here to see if there's anything I can do. I have got a note about it saying that it can't be parked there, but I was trying to keep it away from the road. So it was kind of up on the curb. It wasn't on the sidewalk, so it wasn't blocking anyone's sidewalk or anything, but it was kind of up on the curb because I felt that, if I was the person driving past my house, I would want it to be, more out of the way so that you could have more room to drive. So just wanted to bring that up, ask if there's anything I can do.
What's your
So,
address?
Scarlett, you're sitting on the edge of your seat. Do you have a response or?
We have to follow our city code.
The city code is that you can't keep it there for 48 hours. Lots of times our roads are not wide enough for that. If we had a 56-foot wide standard road, it would be different. If you parked it on the other side of the sidewalk, on your side of the sidewalk, probably be different. We have to keep a safe distance from the traveling road, and the 48 hours seems to be fairly reasonable to most, and especially when there's any type of issue, if there's construction, if there's winter, if there's
The winter one, I understand.
yeah. Anyway, so there's just a number of different reasons why we don't have things parked on the street for more than 48 hours at a time.
And to answer the question about my address, I'm on 110 Abbey Lane, so it's up on the hill. So parking out on the other side of the sidewalk, very, very difficult because, it's a hill and I don't really have anywhere else to park it.
Can you move it a few feet every 47 hours?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay.
And my neighbors are like, have
Probably
you moved
not.
that yet today? I'm like, yep, I have. But
I'll just-
I mean, I have seen other neighbors in my neighborhood. I mean, I've seen a guy park a boat in the same place for an entire summer. And it was never towed away, it was never cited or anything, so.
But we try to stay on top of
You
everything.
want to give us that address? We'll be there.
Nope, I don't.
Okay. I didn't, just checking, because if we're not doing our job, we'll be there.
Yeah, so is there, could I petition to change the ruling or the law on that? In a separate hearing, or?
We have a process that you could make a, application for a law change. You can come into the office and get an application and go through the process if you want.
Okay,
There's no
during business
guarantee.
hours?
Yes, there's no guarantee that that would go. I'm not part of the body, but you can come in and there is a process that you can come in and apply through the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll close that portion of the meeting and move to a presentation. We have our two co-chairs for our sauerkraut celebration, and they just have an amazing event planned. So we want to give them a few minutes to get this all in the books and talk about what's going on. So we have Nicole Bone and Ashley Poole, who are the two co-chairs, and then Jeanette Christensen is here to present her portion of what she's going to be doing. So
We are so excited. I can't believe it's been a year, right?
talking to the mic so that the people on YouTube
Nicole
can hear.
Bone, and we are thrilled for another year. Do you want me to continue? Sure. Okay. So this year we're doing a few different things, but I wanted to start out with Monday. Right off the bat, we are going to do. Well, actually, first, let me start out with, so Monday night, we're doing our historic tour. We're going to start at the Old Rock Church again, and we hopefully will be getting the Cache Valley Transit to do a, help us with that. I don't know. If not,
a bus tour with the new pool vans that stops at the new plaque. There's like 8 plaques that have been placed. And so it would stop at the 6th plaque. Okay, so the bus tour would stop at the new plaque.
yes, so that will be our Monday evening event. And then, Jeanette, Find a Can was a huge success last year, even with my little fun, what are they called, riddles. But Jeanette, we decided to bring her on because it's going to be that much better. Yes, yes.
We're gonna change it just a little bit on Jeanette Christensen. Instead of it being the can will disappear once someone finds it, we're going to have a certificate inside a number 10 can that they will bring down to the city offices for the large prize. And the can will be filled with some smaller prizes for children and other people who are interested in those little small prizes. And the can will be out all day long. We haven't decided if it's 8 to 8 or 9 to 9 or 9 to 8 or whatever yet. And we have 5 locations for that. Amy Linhart is working on the riddles, and she's going to make them a little bit challenging. So, because she's had practice in this. Not enough.
They found them way too fast last year.
But anyway, we hope to encourage families to come out and participate in that event throughout the day, and knowing that there's a little prize that the kids can pick up. We've got those ordered. They'll be here on Friday, and then we'll just fill the number 10 cans. And I'm not going to tell you where they're hidden because we want you to have to read the clues and find them along with everybody else. So there you go.
Just really quick, we wanted to tell you the dates. It's August 14th through the 19th. So that third week in August, and this year it is the week before school starts. Last year it was the week that school started, but school actually starts the week after this year. It's better.
Again, the historic tour was very popular last year, so we decided that we needed to make sure that's the yearly thing. So we're gonna do that Monday night. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, we're doing our pickleball tournament. Tuesday will be the intermediate,
The beginner.
the beginner, and then Wednesday will be, the advanced. And Thursday, we're doing our parade on Thursday evening.
So we moved the parade to Thursday evening. There is a Ridgeline home game on Friday night. So we are trying to, we had the marching band and the cheerleaders last year, and they were really fun in the parade. So we wanted to
Continue that.
keep that tradition. So we're going to do the parade Thursday night this year.
And we do have a grand marshal this year. I've been talking with his sweet wife. He's had some complications, lately, but Alma Lenhart is going to be our grand marshal this year. So I think it'll be wonderful. She's not sure, he should be better by then, but if not, we're still going to honor him and he will be our grand marshal.
And it'll be a similar parade. It'll be the same parade route, and it'll end at Zollinger Park and be a similar event on Thursday night as it was last year on Friday night. And we're going to have Shaler has been organizing we don't know what to call it, an old and young baseball game that's like the dads and the sons. So the old coaches and their boys against each other, baseball game, which we think will be really fun. Thursday night. And we will have sauerkraut dinner offered both Thursday and Friday night, and they will be different options. So Jeremy Jones of Iron Gate Catering is going to do the sauerkraut for us this year, and he is going to do, on the night of the baseball game, kind of like a bratwurst or hot dog, simple sauerkraut dinner option. And while we're on sauerkraut, let me finish with that. We are using the same Bear River bottling for our sauerkraut this year, but we have made improvements to the recipe. So Howard Christensen actually met with Jeremy, John, get John and Jeremy mixed up, with John, and he got the original sauerkraut recipe, and he has been bottling for a while. So we have more that we can sell, so we don't have to limit it this year. So, so he's been working on that for a while.
And the logo on that will be our Providence sauerkraut logo.
Yeah. And then we currently have planned to end this Thursday evening with the drone show at Zollinger Park over the large baseball diamond. Then Friday will be another evening event with a sauerkraut buffet dinner. That's more of a traditional sauerkraut dinner that Iron Gate will be doing again. We'll have vendors at Zollinger Park, an art table. We plan, because there is a Ridgeline home game that night, we wanted to kind of appeal to a different crowd. So we're going to have family bingo and then a band. And then after the game is over, the youth council is planning to put on a dance at Zollinger Park that night. And for Saturday, we currently have a fun run. We are going to add a 10K. It was suggested to us that we add a 10K because there is the half marathon the week after, and so people might want to be training and do a longer run than the 5K and the 1 mile. So there will be 3 lengths that day. We're looking into, the scouts were not interested in doing the pancake breakfast this year. We still want to offer a pancake breakfast. So we're looking into a couple different people that might want to take that opportunity for a fundraiser.
And that'll be Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. And our plans for Saturday evening have just now changed today. So we're going to pivot and figure out what we're doing on that day. So
It's always good to be flexible.
yeah. Do you have any questions for us?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I'm in possession of one of the original sauerkraut slicers that was used. There's 2 of them.
The cabbage slicer.
The cabbage slicers. One of them has 2 bends on it, and the other has 1. The one I have has 1 on it. And It still works, but I don't know what to do with it. I use a hand slicer, but it was given to me because the person that had it didn't want it. And I'm wondering, is there anything we can do with that?
Put it on display. Is it something that could be displayed near the sauerkraut table
It
where we're
could-
selling it?
Yes, it could be. Have you seen the original sauerkraut slicer? Okay, so what they have is a motor up on top, has a drive shaft coming down, turns a flywheel like they used to be in the old Gale choppers, and they've welded blades into that. And there's a hopper. You take the cabbage, you push them down in this hopper and catch it in a barrel underneath, like a wash tub.
Mm-hmm.
Then you put it in the barrels and you pound it down in your barrels with your salt, and that's the way you make your sauerkraut.
Maybe we could have it auctioned off as a bingo prize.
If the dads win the baseball game, they get to take the slicer home.
Yeah.
Out of the game.
What you're going away.
So, we are,
I'll take a picture of it.
okay.
And get it to you. Yeah, they're pretty good size. I mean, you stood up to it, the size, and you leaned over and pushed the cabbage down through and into the, as it sliced in the wheel turn.
Sounds like a fun demonstration.
Maybe that's
I
something
was gonna
Howard could
say.
do, Jeanette.
He might be interested in looking into that. The original ones are done by hand, where they did them down the board by hand, not by any.
Not the automated
Well,
one.
this is the one that Pickett Welding built. He built two of them, I believe, and this is one that Pickett Welding built. And these were built when they started doing Ward sauerkraut after it left. The first ward used it, and then the second ward used it. And when they kind of split ways, the second ward built one, and the first ward retained one. Because they didn't like each other too well, and so.
We don't need to get into that.
She's first, and I'm
One
second.
second.
We like each
Yeah.
other.
That we talked to Howard of the Preservation Committee,
Yeah.
about that, maybe bring it up when you go to the meeting next week.
Maybe they want to be
But
involved and have a
I do
demonstration.
think it should be demonstrated and out there so that people can actually see that. And then maybe what couple the hand was so they can see what they were dealing with before they could do it more like the Pickett's built.
And I have two or three
Oh.
hand ones.
Would it look good on a float going through the parade?
Then throw the sauerkraut.
Savage. Not sauerkraut.
Good idea.
Plain, it's like cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Or like
Oh,
sauerkraut raining from the sky.
no, please don't die.
Mayor,
Yes.
for Monday night, we thought, Jeanette actually had brought up, maybe the Cache Valley Transit could actually have a booth on Monday evening. We could offer that as a, please come and provide bands.
Well, trust me, I sold it that way too.
Okay.
When I talked to him the other
Because
night.
they- And then they could actually show their maps and go throughout our city, and I think that would
Yeah.
be something.
That would be great. Now, vendors, are they gonna have to pay?
We're not charging again this year.
Okay,
We've had a lot of people reaching out, but, we are going to be a bit more,
Selective.
selective
That's a really great
with
word.
our vendors. So we are reaching out to people that we want to be there. We're not just,
and how many vendors are you gonna?
and we're keeping it small again this year, or we're gonna be under 20.
Okay. Great.
And that is including, like, we're counting our sauerkraut as a vendor, and
And we're gonna smush them all together.
Yeah.
We're gonna have them.
yes, it'll,
So it won't be
we
so
are,
spread
we
out.
are much more condensed in our footprint this year.
It's just gonna be so exciting.
We're gaining traction, and a lot of people are excited.
Merch,
That's
you should
good.
talk about.
Oh, no, no,
No?
it's okay. Well, we do need to know
Yes, maybe.
if you guys want to provide shirts for your city council or things like that.
Okay,
Employees.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, the employees,
I think
I know that-
Charlotte would really love, like.
so, anyway,
Anyway.
any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
Well, I'll tell you, my German exchange student who was here that had a shirt,
His wife says he wears that thing all the
Well, you
time.
know, they've actually
Germany.
done really well in Washington. I think they were great shirts. They are a little bit different. We have.
Well, we've added a couple things.
And a true.
Product was hard to get
Cover
last year just because of COVID and all the things like that, but we have added a couple things and product is available this year. So we actually are going to have an online store that you can buy sauerkraut or your merch through before, and we're also going to have our pickleball and fun run registration on a different website. And they can buy shirts and sweatshirts and hats from there.
Great. Fantastic.
I have a question about the registration. I know some people
It was-
have been
it was-
struggled with
it
the
was-
registration last year.
Yeah, so we are taking it over and we're going to be almost a complete, we will have our own bank account, so we're a completely separate entity this year.
Right. What was my other question? Oh, pickleball. Is there more slots than there were last year? I think there's like
No.
10 teams
There's 9 teams each night.
each night.
Mhm.
Okay.
It'll be the same format. That's all when we reached out last year to Millville to use their courts, they wanted to charge us for them. So, that's as many as we can do on our courts right now.
Well, we're working on that. They're in the pipeline. So we'll expand as we expand. How's that?
Yeah.
Won't be for this year, but we will get more there.
Okay.
You guys are awesome.
Thank
I
you
really
so
appreciate
much.
all you do.
Thank you.
Are all of you excited? Nicole, we need to know what you want from us as a council. Anything, or you'll get with us and let us know.
So I thought it was really nice to have council members at each of the events last year. So
We'll be there.
So we'll give
Not
you
gonna
the
work.
schedule and you guys can pick which ones you want to go to. Maybe between all of you, you can figure out that they're all covered.
Okay, well, we've got a little bit of time to talk about that, but we're here to help.
Okay.
So I turn it off. So
Great,
that's good.
thank you. Okay, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you all you're doing. Appreciate it.
Yes.
What's the temperature in here, Rob?
That is.
We're hoping to be done by 84 degrees.
I don't want to take the temperature.
You're calling yourself a chicken? Okay, we'll close that portion of the meeting and go to resolutions. Item number 3, ordinance 04-2023, rezone of parcel 02-096-0038. Providence City Council will review, discuss, and may take action on an ordinance regarding a rezone request for parcel 02-096-0038, which seeks to be rezoned from R11 to R110. So, Scarlett, you want to bring us up to speed on this?
Planning Commission held a public hearing on this, so they've gone through the process. You also, in your agenda packet, you received our staff report, so that's been available. So I'm just gonna highlight some of the differences between the zones, because that's what most people are really thinking about. The conditions that we had for the Planning Commission was that they did have to hold a public hearing. They did that. They made their recommendation. They recommended the zone that the applicant is asking for. When, as you'll notice in the packet, there was a letter from Aaron Walker, who's our fire marshal. That letter, we get those, but they're more of a heads up really for the developer, because most of his concerns will happen as development happens. They're not things that we can take care of at the point of rezone. And then we just require that the applicant continues to follow any rules. Now, once they're zoned, they don't have to automatically develop. They can just leave it zoned like that and enjoy their property for as long as they want before they decide to maybe subdivide it into smaller lots. But this does take care of that for them, that they could, if you choose to rezone it, they will be allowed to. Currently, the property is R11, which is single family, which allows for single family detached housing with a minimum lot size of 43,560 square feet, which is 1 acre. And the applicant is asking for R110, which is single family detached with a minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet. And Ryan has the map up there, so you can see the blue is the R11 and the orange is the R110. So you can, they're right in the neighborhood. A couple of the things that are a little bit different on R11, that requires 120 feet lot width, 120 feet. R110, the minimum lot width is 80 feet. They can have twin homes in the R110 zone. But if they do, they will have to increase, each twin home has to be on 6,000 square feet. So they would have to, those two lots to combine would be 12,000. And a twin home is not a duplex. Twin home, 2 people, person A owns and person B owns, and the property below them belongs, the property around them belongs to them. It's not a common ownership, only the common wall between the two. There's not common property out and about. They have their individual parcel numbers and property lines. Unlike a townhome where they have attached, but the only thing they own is the property right below the footprint of their home. The exterior is a joint, is a common property. And so twin homes are 2 regular single family homes with property around them, but a 0 lot line. So their interior wall is connected.
Question about the lot line. The setbacks that are in the code for that particular zone,
Mm-hmm.
the side and the rear and the front stay the same except for that adjacent lot line. Is that
Right, yes.
For the common wall.
right? Well, I just didn't know if the setback could change
No,
if it was
no,
that condition.
the other side would still be 10 feet
Right, okay.
and then
And the front 20.
and the back is 15. The other difference is density, and everything is a density. Even 1 acre lots are a density, but it's a density of 1 unit per acre. And in the R110, it's that you can have 4.5 units. They're both actually per net acre. Net acre means that if the developer comes in and they're going to be dedicating roads right away or public space to us, they subtract that out, and then the rest of that acreage goes towards their density. They can divide their 4.5 from that. The setbacks, of course, are a little bit different in the R11. Well, actually, they're not anymore. We changed them. So the setbacks are the same as well. The other difference we get to is, nope, everything else is pretty much the same as far as building height and allowed uses. Other than, like I said, the twin homes. R11 does allow a few agricultural type uses that R110 doesn't, but not very many. So they're really similar as far as their uses go. The only really big difference is the lot size itself.
Is R110, is it a 20-foot setback in front
Yes,
and 5 on the side?
10
10?
on the side, unless it's a townhome lot, but yeah. And then I think, unless you have questions or unless one of the staff wants to tell me I missed something, I think that pretty much covers the differences.
Are there other townhomes in that orange area?
You mean twin homes?
Twin homes, sorry, yeah. I thought you just said townhomes, so.
She did. I wasn't sure whether we
I'm
catched it,
sorry.
but she did say townhome, but it's
I
twin home.
apologize.
Are there any other twin homes in that? I was just curious.
Not there. There are some in the single family or the R110 area that's just right up here east of us. There's, along 300 West, I think, and 150 North or something like that. There's quite a few of them there, I think. Yeah.
Those that haven't liked them.
Yeah, there's been some of them that have been a long time, ever since they built them, I think, up here. So,
Those are only possibilities that, the whites have not declared
no,
what they want to put in them.
no, I was just highlighting the differences, so. But want to make clear, just because you change the zone doesn't mean there will be automatic development. And they would have to go through a subdivision process in order to do that. So
we're only talking about the zone here.
you're only talking about the zone.
Did the planning and zoning make a recommendation when they went through it?
They recommended that you grant the request with the zone they're requesting the R110.
It doesn't mean ordinance.
Yeah.
Did they, I did not get to watch planning and zoning for this one. I read that this is different than the general plan. Was there any commentary from planning and zoning on the reason for granting this being different than the general plan? Is there any commentary?
So the general plan would have left it as a state. And I don't recall them making, a lot of comment on varying from that, because they saw that at this point it's a state. The neighbor next to it, came in support of the other estates, one inside of those. So there are two estate properties. So the neighbor next to them came in support of the rezone as well. But at that point, it would have left it as a state as the general plan just kind of anticipated that they'd just leave it. So it didn't have it as a change.
Yeah, they did comment. They said they just thought it made sense with the surrounding properties, that it was fine to deviate on that reason.
They felt like it matched the neighborhood.
Could you, I mean, you're speculating here, but is it possible to get 10 lots? Is it possible to get 10 units on a 1 acre park? That doesn't seem like it's possible.
So
With roads and everything else, like, there's no way you can get it on there.
if it were 1 acre and there wasn't any road to it,
Yeah.
the most, and they just kind of went around the perimeter or something,
Yeah.
the most they could get is 4.
That's what I was thinking.
Probably.
It's probably 4 or
I
5.
mean, it's
I don't know,
4.5 is the
speculating.
maximum, so.
Yeah,
But you couldn't have
4.5
a half,
is your
so-
max density per acre, but they have 2.5 acres here.
Yeah.
So that's where the 10 comes, is the potential is 10 because they have 2.5 acres.
Sure, but
What-
you got road
Yeah.
setbacks.
But you don't know the configuration yet.
Right.
That's all I have.
Josh, the 0.5 is a half of a twin home.
There you go.
I know, it's just, yeah. It is strange.
But those 0.5s, they add up if you've got a lot of acreage in the density thing, so. But on small pieces, they kind of don't make sense.
Thank you.
All righty, thank you.
White, do you have any comments you want to make, or?
These guys have heard me before, so same spiel. But we do have 2 of the hand sauerkraut slicers if you need them from Providence, so.
And you're willing to show us how to
Well,
use them?
Jeanette will show you. Anyway, so same spiel, it's planning zoning. Well, the last 3 or 4 years, we've had developers and realtors want to buy our property and subdivide it. And we like the open space. And my career was an engineer and project manager for Utah Power and Light, Rocky Mountain Power. And I always looked to the future for things. When I was planning a project, I could spend a little bit more money now and not have to deal with something that I knew was going to happen in the future. It was worth it. So when Brian and Rob came to us about, we're the only one that we don't have the curb and gutter out front. There's been a couple accidents because of that, because it narrows the constriction of the road. And we thought, well, you know, maybe this is the time if we're going to redo that, stuff everything in if we can. So we, in the future, when we're gone, we wouldn't have to dig up the street and then I'll be there And our son could have the equity of that development rather than somebody else that we don't know. So that's kind of what drove it. And we're really good either way. So anyway, just we thought,
Thank you for planning ahead.
well, if it works out, okay. And they needed an easement also, so we tried to help with that. We got mixed up between Rob and Ryan on how soon they needed it. So sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you.
Any questions? And I'm Jeff. I was supposed to introduce myself, Jeff White. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion, any other further questions that we need to answer? The planning commission really went through it quite thoroughly and had a good discussion on it.
I would note that there wasn't really opposition. The planning commission is there. You can see that it was about as full of a house.
We don't have any pitchforks in here tonight.
It was a high density.
Or fire on sticks, yeah.
Well, it makes sense right now. Well, the road's being worked on, and it's time to do it. If that's what you would like out of your property, it makes sense. And there's property all the way around it that's the same. And might as well go ahead and get it done if that's what you'd like.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 04-2023, rezone of parcel 02-096-0038. To rezone this parcel from R11 to R110.
Okay,
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for planning ahead. It's nice to have people who are forward thinking.
Well, and I forgot to tell you, we'd be glad to stub everything in. We'd be glad to pay for that. So you don't have to.
Well, the city will work with you on all of that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. We're gonna sneak out of that.
You don't even have to sneak. You can walk right out. I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to get to you. Okay, so we'll close that portion, go to agreements, contracts. We have a building inspection service agreement. So we will review it, discuss, and take action on approving an agreement for building inspection services. Ryan, you want to cover this?
I would love to. So at this point, we currently have building inspection services through the county. This would be an extension of that for another 4 years. And we have looked over the time I've been here, we've kind of looked to see if bringing it in-house makes sense or not. We tried to get maybe one of our staff member to take the test and just kind of grow naturally into it. Showed some interest and then left us. So it didn't work out. It is hard to get a building inspector. They are in short supply. And it just that's a profession that's kind of in short supply at this time. It makes sense for us to contract with the county to continue that service. They have backups so that when one's gone, they can cover a gap, and a lot of times they're can be efficient. I got my building permit fairly quickly, so I have been happy with my last service with them, which worked out just dandy. And the last few years has been a lot. I'll just show you this. This is totally sidetracked, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think this is a good time. We have a dashboard that shows us certain things, but the relevant one here is just to kind of show you how many housing and how many permits we've had over the last 12 years or so. And you see we saw a huge jump there in the 2019, 2020, 2021. We saw a huge jump. We're seeing a decline back at the amounts between 2008 and 2018. We wouldn't have been able to afford a building inspector. In the 2019, 2020, 2021, we could have considered, but as that comes back down, if it returns to anything normal, it's just not gonna make as much sense. So we watch it, we look, we're not just, doing it because we don't want to do it, but it's something that we've looked at, or I've looked at here. A few extra pieces of this puzzle, and I was gonna do it in my report, but I'll just show you. It shows us the type of units we currently have, kind of the makeup of our units, tells us how many buildable lots are still available in Providence that have been plotted, but aren't built yet, and how many acres are in Providence but haven't been subdivided yet. So it kind of gives us a dashboard of where we're at, how many single-family housing we have versus multifamily. And so, but the building is really what I wanted to show you for this contract. So anyway, any questions you have?
It feels like we're full. It feels like we're almost built out, but that's quite a few acres. Yeah.
All developable acres?
They're unsubdivided acres. I can't necessarily say it's all developable
There's
acres.
plenty of areas that are not developed.
So I wouldn't interpret the information too far. It is from the GIS data, and
Yeah.
we pull that off.
All
and-
you do is
But
just
you
look at the
have
map though, and you can tell that that's
Yeah.
the wrong plan, and that's great.
Right.
Well, and you have all that stuff across.
Well, they build on swampland, they just put trees down.
Anyway,
Where do we access that if we want to look at it? Just email you?
yeah, in my office.
All right.
Oh, you gotta like use a retinal scanner, walk in your office, and then you like,
It's in draft form, so it's not public.
And I do have one question. In here it says, whereas the county possesses certain expertise in the field of building inspection and municipalities in need of such expertise for conducting building inspections within its jurisdiction. I don't see anything, and maybe I'm just missing it, about plan reviews, building plan reviews and stuff like that. I know they do them for us. I didn't see it mentioned in the agreement. Did that need to be in there?
We do the reviews of zoning clearance, and certain reviews. They do building,
They do the
building review, but that's part of the permit, right?
They do the structural review of the
Right.
So that's part of the
I
permit.
understand.
Yeah.
You guys are doing the land review. Is that group and zoning clearance and all that sort of stuff? Does it need to specify anything about plan reviews?
I wouldn't think so, since they drafted and presented the agreement.
Okay, you're happy with it, I'll vote for it, but
It's been working.
it's been working. Well, I changed it, it's been working.
I'm fixing it if it's not broken. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with the county building services as mentioned in item number 4, that we approve the agreement as it is presented to us.
okay. So I have a motion on the table.
I'll second.
And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll exit that part. We're doing good, you guys. We don't have any other business, no study items, so we're staff reports. So, Ty?
Our new website is up and running. Looks pretty nice. It looks good.
Yeah.
We're still working out a few little tweaks here and there. So if you do see something that comes up, just let us know, send us an email. We're still kind of being trained on it. As you know, we had 3 seats available for this coming election. We had 4 candidates declared. That's on our website if you want to know more information about that. With only 4 candidates, we won't be having a primary. As you know, they're doing a election for the 2nd district, so they've moved back the actual election date to November 21st. That's 2 or 3 weeks from the original date. And any questions?
So we'll be having a meet the candidate night before, so.
Or when the ballots get mailed out.
They're usually a month before the election, something like that.
Yeah, but last year we did it about October, I think it was October 10th, we did the candidate night. But yeah, everything just gets pushed back that amount of time.
That's 3 weeks.
Most of the statute says so many days before the election, 65 days. So that's what they're going off of on those timeframes. So they're not changing anything by the statute. They're still sticking with what the statute's saying regarding those timeframes. Declarations, same thing. I'll email people when declarations will be due a week before, and go from there.
Would it,
Financial declaration.
this is just a random idea. What if we were able to access to like the middle school and do the candidate, meet the candidate thing, like in conjunction with the car show? People are already out on that. Think about that, you know?
Could look into it.
But that's on a weekend. Anyway, I don't know, just my idea.
Anytime we can capture more people, so people don't say you didn't tell us.
Maybe we could do Zoom.
We could do Zoom. Let's think about that. We've got a little bit of time.
We can talk with Canada.
And there
So we're just Zoom.
are ways to do that.
I just have
Okay.
a quick question. These Apple pads, if we got rid of them, and got Chromebooks, is that something that you guys would be interested in, or would you still bring your personal laptops?
Still bring
I'll
your
bring my own.
laptop.
Yeah.
But if you
It's
keep
easier
the-
to bring your
If
own.
you keep the charging cable, there, that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. Thank you.
Thanks, Ty.
I watched the entire series of the Netflix series. No, I didn't.
I do have
The
one
sad thing
quick
is we might
question.
believe that.
Is there a
No.
timeframe when they talk about putting out the signs, candidate sign? I
No,
know
there's no,
There's a time frame for taking them down.
yeah, so putting them out, you can put them out technically whenever you want. There's actually no
Because
statute.
people have already signed
Yeah.
out, so they declared.
So long as you're just complying with, our city regulations and stuff like that, but yeah, signs can go out whenever.
But if you put them out too early, people will get tired of them.
Yeah.
I was thinking that I did the work.
I'll help you help.
Okay. So who's next? Scarlett? Oh, no, it's Rob. I'm sorry.
You're welcome.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Shaver did pull the, fireworks signs out from our storage today, and Colton will probably be placing those. We're gonna try something along with those little H sign ones. Ty worked up something to put on the sandwich board or the A-frames, because we don't have any public hearings that we need to have them on for next week, so, we'll put those, he's got 4 locations figured out that he's gonna put those out, so
Thank you.
we'll do what we can. I know there were
Oh,
already people lighting them off last night
oh, yeah.
Oh, were there really?
With their vehicles.
in their vehicles.
Yes.
We've got somebody that lives across the street.
See them going down the street from the vehicle.
Few of your students.
That is ridiculous, but oh well. Anyway, we are telling people, if that happens, don't wait till the next morning to call us. Call the sheriff's department, call the, dispatch and have them react to it a little quicker, because next day is nothing that we can do about it. Our baseball program, since the winter held on a little longer than we liked, the baseball program's going a little longer. Normally, we take the entire month of July off and close both soccer and the baseball fields, except for the Wolverine games. We're gonna have to finish our baseball season up the week after the 4th. So, but we will close whatever fields we're not using, we will close during the month of July. And our Fun in the Sun is going. I think the kids seem to be enjoying that. We it was interesting to listen to that gentleman's perspective on parking his trailer. We have got numerous complaints already about trailers parking on the road. In fact, I haven't talked to Ryan about it for a while, but last summer we discussed an ordinance similar to Hiram's that would actually say you can't park them out on the road, period. They're probably where he is, it's maybe not a problem, but in some areas where everybody has a boat and a trailer, there's just no room for everybody to park their boat and a trailer out there. So we've gotten complaints already, and Colton has been out putting little tags on to try and remind people. He's also putting notes out, on, they're not fire hazard weeds yet, but they're still tall and obstructing view and things like that. So he is giving warnings on weeds, and then once he does that, if they don't do something in a few days, then we send them a letter, and then if they don't do it then, since they're not a fire hazard yet, we probably have to have a deputy cite them for a nuisance. But
Do you mail those to people who are in undeveloped spots?
yes, they're harder. I try and contact them by email and by phone and stuff, but it's almost impossible to contact them. So the best I can do is, because I generally can't find an email anywhere for somebody that hasn't put in some kind of an application, or even a phone number that they haven't put in an application, and they don't have any services to the lot. So
Second south, third south at First East is their problem. You come up to that intersection and you can't see around the grasses. To see
on First East,
somebody on First East, it's the corner of Second South and First East and Third South and First East.
Can you create an ordinance that would just, I don't know, I would hate this isn't like me, but they'll go to develop it, but they'll have something tagged on there that they didn't keep up on the weeds, so then when they go to develop it,
Pay their own
Kind of-
parking.
kind of been attached to it
actually,
because you couldn't get a hold of them. I don't know what you would call it, I'm just saying, it
Well,
might motivate
Well,
more
it would
people
be
to
an
take care
unpaid
of it.
balance they have to pay.
Right, like,
A lien.
A lien, yeah.
we could do
so
it,
then
but we
they
do
come
need
in to
to change
develop
the
it
one.
and you can say, yeah, you
But it's
kind of let your weeds
it's really
go.
a
and,
hidden.
yeah.
So do we have?
We
a
don't serve the
nuisance
snow on
ordinance
those
for weeds?
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
And what does it require? In other words, see, the fire, part of it, all you have to cut is 10 feet perimeter.
Ours is a little bit more than that. Well, some of the fire makes cut 50, depends where you're at.
True.
But ours,
Maybe it is 50, maybe it is.
if we declare them a new, obnoxious, or not obnoxious, they are obnoxious, but noxious weeds, they have to remove those. But the other weeds, we just ask that they knock them down. We actually ask for their whole property, so, which I have to say, my husband is one of the worst. I told him, I said, I'm just bringing home tickets and letters and get this done.
Is that something that's in the newsletter for fire prevention, about not like cutting down the brush?
You know, we didn't put that in there.
About the last one, but we've had it before.
Yeah.
You forget because some of that stuff is common sense, you know, so you forget that some people do need to be reminded.
Our actual development process has slowed down quite a bit. Even the developments that have concept or preliminary plats in them have slowed down. So, but our decks and our detached garages and additions and retaining walls and swimming pools, they are keeping us going. We've had interest, and I think, we've had one turned in, a plan. I don't know if they're gonna end up with an ADU or not, but they did turn something in. And I think we are going to have another one turned in, this week or next week. So, but no, we have not had too many ADUs actually come in and do anything. But
How many permitted units do we have on the books? Do you know,
Probably,
off the top of your head?
probably 15, something like that. They're not, that's combined, detached and interior that we know about.
No, how many, like, we've got a whole development over here that is permitted, but,
Oh,
But they're not
I thought
doing
you were talking ADUs.
no, I'm sorry. Permitted
Um,
housing units in Providence.
Well, I had that number. I showed you that number.
yeah, that was part of the 472, or wasn't that what it is, Brian? It's
Mhm.
472? Yeah, and I am working on our, affordable
Housing.
our moderate income housing report. Yeah. We'll get through this.
This too shall pass.
Yeah. Anyway, then, so those are the kind of things that we're keeping busy doing between recreation and everything else. I also, talked to Ryan and I went to a Water Smart, Grow Water Smart, I think is actually what it is. There's a 3-day or 2.5-day workshop up to Utah State, and it was free. So you were supposed to go in teams. We didn't have enough to do a team from Providence, so we put together kind of an ad hoc team from the county. And the goal of that team is to help with education and to help seek. And for going to that, the county is, that team is eligible for a $10,000 grant towards education promotion or changing out sprinkler timers, the smart smart, what are they called?
Sprinkler timers.
Yeah. Anyway, so I still do
Control
boxes, yeah, and, or things like that. So if you start seeing Grow Water Smart stuff, that's where that's coming from. And I do know we have two of them, the mayor of Smithfield and the mayor of North Logan are both part of that group, and
I'm
they're
going to
reaching
serve on
out.
that group as well.
You are? Good for you. Good for you. So anyway, and that, yeah, that group is going to change its complexion in a little bit, but it's got representatives from several different communities, and the Nathan Dowds is on there. So we have the water district well represented. So I'll keep you posted on that, but pretty much, unless you've got questions, that's it. We're just plugging along.
Maybe this is a Ryan question, but I'm sure it's much. When do they expect the construction on Bollinger to start?
That is a Ryan question. Have you got?
It's gonna start.
Let me clear my throat.
It will start.
It will start. No. No, but
We got
it,
5 days.
yeah, it'll start. We've got a contractor, and we're moving towards that direction, but probably not until August sometime. You know, likely it'll be the second week of August or
Right,
so.
once that
Right
crowd
over
days
there,
is.
Zach Crowd Days.
Nice. All right.
It's not that we're not ready, it's that they're not ready.
We also have somebody else that's interested in doing a fun run, I think in September, or something like that. So I think that trend appears to be coming back a little bit, kind of left our area for a minute, but I think it's
Isn't
coming
that the
back.
group, the humanitarian group?
No, there's a different group that wants to do one now.
Okay.
So they haven't sent their application in, but they're seriously looking at it. One thing I would ask, if people talk to you, please have them, if it's something that they have an issue with, have them contact us here at the office so we can, I mean, I feel badly that we didn't know
It's been
about
that
some
long,
of these
yeah.
problems that we could have been right on top of. So
Yeah.
just encourage people to contact the city office, and we'll, between the whole group, we'll get them where they need
And
to go.
we've done really well at getting back with people as soon as things happen, so, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan's been very responsive in my request. Out, see what's going on in the neighborhood, huh, Ryan? Absolutely.
I think our whole staff tries to be that way, and
We do.
and
Yeah.
I think it is, we're trying to really be that way. If they'll let us know rather than
Save
you
it
know,
to
in
come
the,
to
in the
this
heat of the
meeting,
moment.
we'll do it.
But if
Yeah.
they'll let us know, we're happy to work on those kind of things, and we can work on them a lot easier as the issue comes up, so it doesn't fester. It
Yeah.
came burn the south, whatever.
So Hal, give me a call. And Colton's really good. If Public Works is busy, he will hop out there. If we've got the drone, we can take pictures and documentation and stuff. So we're trying really hard on the code compliance stuff to stay as responsive as we can. So,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for your work.
Thank you.
I can't imagine how you keep track of all that. Rob,
Good people. And notes.
no.
We got a lot coming at us and it's really busy already, so I guess patience is one word that comes to mind when, especially when it comes to these storms like Brent Beth alluded to, that pummels the whole town. So when it comes to our three-man streets crew, which we have a new member, so you know, his name is Jesse Peterson, and so he's our new addition. He's got a lot to learn, but he's panning out so far from what I can tell. So that three-man crew has a lot to do when it came to a storm like that one. Because it pretty much filled the ponds, the storm chambers, the sumps, the storm lines, the drop boxes, everything filled with rock. Okay, so doing road shoulders, we will get to it, but it's not on the high end of the priority list, preparing for the next wave of that what if factor. That what if factor, we've got to try to get stuff cleaned out. So that streets crew, he's had some help from parks and water, trying to recover from that back-to-back. We kind of had two events. It was 4 days apart. It just filled all the storm chambers and such, filled with water. We had so much prior rain that it saturated everything, and then we got that huge monsoon. And so it just overwhelmed everything. So I guess when it comes to shouldering, we'll get to it, but there's a lot of it. So just encourage people to be patient and all like that.
Absolutely no criticism on our part,
No,
Rob. We know you
no.
have your head.
We appreciate all you've done.
Absolutely.
So we do tell people to, you know, we're coming to it.
We're working on it. And the
Make
street
sure we
crew,
get it on the
they're-
list and
we've got a lot of other to-dos besides storm repair to work on. I mean, there's spraying weeds, they're mowing weeds, you know, doing asphalt patches and preparing for the chip seal, which we just got the downtown stuff completed from our last two of downtown road projects. So that's all been chip sealed down. So it's protected. We've got another wave of chip seal we're planning to do at the end of July. Weather can change timelines, so I hate to speculate too much, but tentatively it's right after the 24th holiday that we're going to do Gateway Drive from Fifth South all the way to River Heights. We're going to skip the First North roundabout. It's got some good looking hot tape still around it, and I'll take care of the roundabout probably next year when we do First North. At least that's the tentative plan on that. The only other pertinent stuff you might like to know about is we did lose our well house, one of them, Alder Well. It's kind of our small, old faithful well. We turn it on in the spring, turn it off in the fall, and it never turns off. It has declined in production over the years that I've witnessed it. And so we're optimistically hopeful that the new pump and motor and some cleaning and rehab that we're doing right now currently will increase its volume when it's all said
it's
and
because
done.
of the machinery, not because the well is dry.
Right, the motor
Okay.
down in the hole, ground out. So we got a lot of life out of it. It was well over 20 years that it was in the hole. So it doesn't really owe us much, but, and it's due to,
It's just a hassle.
it's gonna be an expensive, unplanned item. We're definitely well over 30 grand to rehab a well like that, so. That's what's going on. Abbey Circle started today, so as far as our streets and water project, that finally came underway as of today. that's coming at us.
Great. Well, I've seen the guys out, when they were doing the chip seal, stopping cars. Sure.
Actually, we didn't have a whole lot of frustrated people this year. For some reason, everybody was understanding on that process, so
Just
hopefully
training
they,
them well.
hopefully they like it, because we're gonna probably do a little more chip seal than we normally do, just because of the fiber project when it comes to types of treatment options.
Are you rotor milling Abbey Lane,
No, it'll be pulverized.
pulverized? Yeah, maybe it's a good reason for him to move his trailer.
Well, it will be on Abbey Circle, not Abbey Lane.
We're only doing that.
So we're just doing that circle.
Anything for me?
I just had one question about the weeds in the roundabout. Is that something we contract out or staff does? I thought maybe it might be a idea. Carrie's not here, but I'll pass it on to her. Maybe the youth council can pull weeds or.
Oh, I thought you said city council. Oh,
I'd be fine to do it too. I will show up.
I'm sorry.
You know what, when I'm out, I even have a reflective vest, so I have no problem like stopping traffic to get in the middle.
I've been pulling weeds out front
Good.
when I go out with the dog.
We generally have our temporary seasonal staff take care of the roundabout weeds. I'll look at it and recommend that shown over the parks to try to put it higher on the priority again. That seems to grow weeds real fast. At least this first north one is really bad. Needs some new bark or something, new weed barrier.
It's a butterfly habitat that we're growing. So please don't call it weeds anymore. This is butterfly habitat that we're growing. So,
And my philosophy is if you let the weeds get big, you can pull sore through and look like you've been really busy.
Good one. And then I had just thought of a few just serve projects as far as things that maybe I could get residents and citizens to help with. So I don't know if it's best to email you with those or if Shane or something. I don't know who the best person is.
if you'll email me, I'll pass it down the line.
I'll send it to Ryan. That'll
You
figure
can
out
also get it on
how to get
the
the best directions. I just want to make sure that when we ask people to come do things, they're helpful and they're not extra,
not busy work, that's all.
I want them to be helpful to you guys. No, you guys do great.
Can
And,
we get 'em
and
to
thank
it?
you for all the water management runoff.
You're welcome. Yeah, we've definitely dodged a bullet when it comes to Spring Creek. So we definitely didn't need the monsoon, Mother Nature being mad at us scenario with Spring Creek flooding. So we definitely got lucky in a lot of aspects.
Well, what was nice was that people banded together and removed the debris out of the ditches and the stream beds. It's something that's needed to be done for a long time. And
We did a lot of
got done.
preparing for the worst, and I think that might be why we didn't get it. I mean, that's the theory, right?
Has to do
If
with
you don't plan for it or prepare for it, it's gonna bite you, and we didn't get that for that reason.
Well, I'm sure a lot of it has to do with how well you guys handled everything. So thank you.
Rob, have you ever used the spray Bromosil?
Roma seal.
Bromosil. It's a bromide product and it's Bromosil. If you have an area that you don't want weeds in to grow, if you spray it about the first part of March or April, it kills every seed from sprouting for an entire year. It is fantastic stuff. You get it at
Ask Jason, he's my spray weed guy. I don't see what he,
Bromosil.
I don't know what we use, but we use.
Is that green? Is that what green is?
No,
What's in green?
no, it's absolutely more fantastic with green. It's a red powder, you mix it with water. I put it out with a hand sprayer, no weeds to sprout anywhere.
I'll look into it and ask
It's,
about it.
you can get it out at Steve Regan Company.
Say that again?
Steve Regan Company.
It's out in those theaters that are empty, out on North Main.
Yeah, they moved out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, they have it. So it's selective. You got to use it in the right areas. But if you got areas that you don't want vegetation growing
To ever grow.
yeah, well, it's
Well,
good for
I just
weather.
read about keep the soil sterile, so it stays active in the soil, so you wouldn't,
Water activated.
so you wouldn't be able
For
to,
how long?
you gotta be careful.
It works on a yearly basis, but I sprayed 2 years and never had a problem. It's fantastic. I just keep using it every year more. Just in case you want a product that does a good job. I spray it around my storage sheds. It's fantastic.
To the yard side, there's still plenty of areas. Kills all is a great idea.
You use Killzall,
Well, I personally have used that in the past. I'm not sure what Jason's using.
but the problem with Killzall is you have to have a green plant. You spray this in March and there's nothing there. Nothing grows. It's great.
And it's bromine,
Bromacil,
bromacil.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anything else?
Thank you. Please tell your crew, thank you.
As you can tell, there's a lot of things that go on. We've got construction going on. As Rob talked about, our chip seal work, a lot of it, we've slowed down certain pieces so we could get more of the roads paved and constructed. We have Abbey Circle, they'll come down Stonehenge, we'll cover 4th East, we'll cover 540 South, 580 South, 75 West. We'll cover all of those. We have covered a great deal of roads in the past. We're continuing to improve. I would argue that at this point, we've made improvement in every one of our departments and areas, and continue to see that. And I'm ecstatic at the progress that our staff has made, and hopefully proud of them. I can hear that. I appreciate that. We have talked about fireworks. I know that you wanted me to report that. We have talked about that. We've got we'll have it on our website if we don't already. But that's been a project throughout the day to make sure that we can get ready to have everything up and ready so that people don't light off fireworks in the wrong spot. It's amazing. You have to remind people. We do take and try to keep the restrictions similar from year to year, if not identical, so that people can't say, well, I could do it here last year, why not this year? And so the more consistent we are, the more we believe that it will help people remember that's just not an area we do fireworks. I've had questions and just kind of give you an update. Sewer, especially West Side, we have waited on getting an appraisal for the property that we're looking to purchase to put the lift station on. We got that appraisal last night, and so we're looking to move forward into that direction. We do have a crossroad that we're coming to it at sewer. Our master plan identified it. Logan has brought it up. The first development on the west side of the highway is bringing it up with Blackstone, and that will be at some point sooner than we know. We will have to either conclude to build our own treatment plant or upsize the line we have with Logan, and even we met with Logan and Blackstone and some of the city just to kind of visit about it. And Logan's starting to get more and more nervous about the upgrading of that line. If we upgrade the line and build a treatment plant, then we're just adding more money than we need to. But either way we go, we've talked about putting it on as a vote of the public item. I'm still waiting. We've hired Zions Bank and Sunrise Engineering to put together a feasibility study, and I'm still waiting for that. So at this point, I trusted that we'd have a third party on it, and I'm sure that they'll do an amazing job of it. I'm just waiting time-wise. So it's taking a little longer than I had hoped, but hopefully that's the sign of quality rather than anything else. So I'm hoping. Fiber, we have. Oh, yes, sorry.
as I said in meetings down in St. George about sewer and treatment plant, the way they have the technology down now and the way it goes, I really think we need to seriously consider our own treatment plant. Upgrading that line, that was an expensive venture. That pump house is probably going to have to be upgraded. There's a lot to it, and Logan City feeds into those lines. And you know, we upgrade, and they put their sewage in it too. I really strongly feel that we need to look at our own treatment plant. That's my comment.
Thank you for that. Before I go on, any other, either sewer or fireworks, those are the two items. Okay, just want to make sure I don't run over them. Fiber, we have nearly 650 connections on the fiber. I will tell you, it's been consistent throughout this process. The two complaints I get is the mandatory fee, which we haven't instituted, is still complained about, and the way the install from the road to the house. Those are by far the overwhelming complaints I get. But once they're connected, I believe that I have gotten zero complaints, or nearly zero complaints, after somebody has been connected about the service. Now, some have said, well, it's not fast enough, and we've identified that they're on the 5 megabit connection. And the lowest connection is just probably not fast enough for you if you're wanting to use a lot of it. But by and large, once people are on it, they like it. And I get very little complaints about them. We've got some aggressive ISPs out there that are trying to hit the doors and build market share. And we're seeing some that are definitely building market share, and some that aren't. And but I think that at that point, things are progressing. We have a trenching crew, a micro trenching crew here that's working. We should have another one within the next week or two. We can do drops from a person's house to the road in any zone, and we're working towards that. We have installs scheduled for at least the next 4 weeks. So if we build up enough installs over a period of time, then they'll bring out another installer. So we're kind of are on the teetering point when we get to that point. So anyway, any questions on fiber? It's a big project. We're hoping to wrap up in the next 9 months or so. It's been slow at times, but you can see it's going again. And as we finish roads and as we finish areas, we'll start to put down more chip seals to cover some of those, and ultimately our roads will come back into as good a condition as they need to be, and better. So, but anyway, anything on fiber?
When do we have that discussion on the P?
Whenever you'd like to put it on the agenda. I've delayed implementing primarily because, one, we don't have all set up in order to, if we made a push for a zone, we couldn't have them all installed tomorrow. And so we have finished zone 2. Zone 2 is completely finished. And we had an extra installer. Once we implemented that, we expected there would be quite a few that would be interested in getting it installed right away. They had to pay for it. Zone 1 is mainline is 100% complete, and so we're just finishing drops there. So as the council, when you're ready and you want that implemented, certainly we can add that to the agenda. At this point, our focus has been on getting each of the zones up to that point and get those that want to if we can get all those that want to first before we implement them, then we can have a different discussion. But that's where we're at. If you want it on the next one, or when you're ready for it, happy to have us put it on the agenda to discuss those ones. But that's kind of where we're at this point. If you want me somewhere else, I want to be where you want me. Just give me that heads up that you're ready for that on the agenda, and we can go for it. So anyway, but I haven't gotten an overwhelming push to do that, so I'm continuing the pace I'm going. So anyway, does that answer your question? Yeah. Grants. With all the things that we do and come, there are times that I love talking about grants, and when we're awarded grants, that's when I really get excited, because it is money we can bring from other areas into our city and invest in our city with somebody else's dollar. Sometimes it's from federal dollars, and so it's still our dollar, but if we don't get it, then somebody else got it. I just, just to kind of put it out there for this year, we've applied for over $1.4 million in grants to help our recreation from January till June, and now the national park still has to approve one of them, but if they do, which we expect that they will, we will be awarded 1.3. We will have been awarded 92% of what we applied for. So I think that's a great one.
We love it.
And a lot of that is money that comes back to us or added projects. This last one I sent you about would include some of the projects in Volunteer Park. And the nice thing about that one, we talked about tax dollars, but that money comes particularly from offshore drilling. And so the money is funded from offshore drilling and not from direct taxpayer money. Now that's a form of taxing, I suppose, but it's from fees coming from offshore drilling into the National Park Service, which then comes out. So
That's why our gas prices are so high.
we're getting part of it back. We're out to try to get it wherever we can. So anyway, that leads us skate park. We've gotten a rough initial first draft of a concept. They're working on that. We'll take it out to the citizen committee and kind of weigh that out with some of the skateboarders and kind of get some feedback. But we're working on that one. Pickleball, we've worked with a contractor. They're busy and probably won't see them until the fall. Probably won't see skate park until the fall. And we have redone one of the fields kind of internally. And that looks amazing. I think that's the best looking municipal one I've ever seen, and I love it. So anyway.
It's just a big field that
Yeah.
you can play on.
Yeah. Anyway, I wasn't raised a baseball person, and I didn't know how to love that game as much as I probably should. But standing out on the mounds on that field is fun. If you haven't had a chance. Oh. Well, I've done it in private so I could stand there alone. But without an audience, but I tell you, it is
Somebody
fun.
else.
It is fun.
I've done the first pitch 2 summers in a row, so
So
how's your throwing arm, John?
Speaking of that, have you guys all there's a down now? We've had the opportunity to throw out the first pitch in about 3 major league games now.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's about 14, Down syndrome. Man, that is fantastic. You just have to applaud that young man.
that's fun.
Love it.
That's fun. Yes, I don't need that, but I do find it fun to stand there and just stand on that field as well as it's done. And we have, and to be proud of what we've accomplished as Providence to have there. We have a lot of great things. I mean, I could extend on a lot of areas of town and be proud of where we're at.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, I think so.
You've done that.
So anyway, I think we have some great avenues. Talking about stormwater, I just wanted to kind of come back and visit about stormwater. Something we've talked briefly about before, but keep in mind, some of the things you see may not be what you think you see. And one of those learning ones is up on Canyon Road. We have what is actually a bubble up box rather than a storm drain. So it looked from the naked eye and the untrained or whatever, however, when they drive by and it's always full of water, the natural response is, well, that water's not draining. But in reality, there is a, I call it a holding pond, but what do you? Storm chamber. There was a better term for it than I was going to use. There's a storm chamber under, up by the parking lot and to the side there. Basically a detention basin. I wasn't going to pick which church. I was going to leave that broad.
It's a building.
Yeah, anyway, the building. You can see a building. But we have other storm chambers around, and they are basically underground detention basins. Detention basins. And at that point, what they do is they have a release spot, which once they're full, they will bubble out and drain out. But when people see them, and especially when they see them bubbling out, they worry that is something that it's not. We have others that are French drain. So we have a drain that doesn't connect to a pipe. So when the water flows down into it, it acts as a French drain that percolates into the soil as it goes. And when there's a very little amount of water, it works just great. But because there's not another pipe to outlet it, that's all it does is it takes just a small amount that it can percolate. And so with storm drain and storm water, if water is on the surface, insurance doesn't generally cover surface water. If it's touched the ground, that's not an insurance item. That's not something we cover. It's not something we fix. And we try to help. The point of stormwater is to slow it and to try to reduce some of the erosion. So some of those that we've had washing out on the side, we want to, if we could put in curb and gutter everywhere, we could hold back all of that washout onto the street, or at least most of it. It would be very expensive, and I don't think we're prepared to put in that. But sometimes stormwater isn't as cut and dry, because when that rain comes, we don't know where it's going to come or how fast it's going to come. We were so prepared. We were so prepared for the flood coming out of Spring Creek. And we were well prepared. The community came together to be prepared. We met with both water companies, which I thought was great. We met with all the three different stakes and River Heights mayor, and we met with lots to make sure that we were prepared for that. But a flash flood that can just open up and the rain gets you, that's been a lot of work to catch up on. And I commend the road crew and Rob and his group, because that takes a lot. I mean, you imagine 40 miles of road when that thing opens up, and you have a rain that won't stop or just drains constantly for a while. That's a catch up to. Anyway, it's a lot. But just to kind of go into stormwater, because I sense that that's something that the public doesn't always have a clear understanding. But a lot of the point of stormwater plan and management is not to make sure that stormwater never touches property. It's to slow it, it's to put it in detention basins or retention basins, to slow it down, to avoid the erosion, and then to let it go to the next spot and eventually make it to the river where it eventually goes out to Cutler and beyond. So anyway, just kind of touch on that. Any questions you have, anything I can help answer for you that I haven't already covered?
I just have a comment. I really anticipated having budget adjustments in June. You know, very sharp pencil. There's no budget adjustments the entire year, and we've had a crazy winter and all the things. So I think staff and you are both all to be commended for that. You did a great job. Great job. So I appreciate it.
You do a very good work on budget and
Very
project.
sharp pencil.
Yes. I noticed my crystal ball, and people told me that, yeah, I gotta stop calling it a crystal ball, it's a snow globe. Anyway. Any other questions?
Sure it was. You guys did a great job.
Thank you. Anything else? And I see no need for a closed session or anything else, so maybe we'll be able to get home first.
Okay, thank you, everyone, staff, the team is just fantastic, thank you. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, the next meeting will be July, is it the 19th, 15th?
19th.
Is it
the 19th?
That's a Saturday,
Oh,
so the 19th.
Yeah, the 19th.
okay,
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I have a motion on the table, I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.